of the Geneva Area City Board of Education. Roll call, please.
Mr. Andrus.
Yes.
Mr. Cooper.
Yep.
Mrs. Cybulski.
Here.
Mrs. Krieg.
Here.
And Mr. Pierson.
Here.
Madam Treasurer, are we in compliance with meeting requirement rules?
We are.
This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a motion to waive the reading and approval of the minutes, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Andrus.
Yes.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
Mrs. Cybulski.
Yes.
Mrs. Krieg.
Yes.
And Mr. Pierson.
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, we'll have student recognition.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Really appreciate all of you being here. I love the start of our board meetings because we're going to be honoring some students as well as some staff, and this is why we do this. So thank you all for being here. We are going to start with Austinburg. When your name is called, please come up. You'll be getting a certificate, but please remain up here because we want to get a picture with you and the board president and myself, okay? So Austinburg Eagles consistently exceed expectations in all they do. They consistently demonstrate kindness, dedication, hard work, positive attitude. So we are really honored to share these 4 students who we are proud of these accomplishments. So Robert Bernardo, please come up. All right. Daniel Gregg. All right, come on up and get your certificate. All right, Reed McNeil. Kinade Navarro. All right, let's get a picture. All right, so Cork Elementary School, Sharon Griffiths. You come on up. Sharon is a celebrity. She sent in a response to News Depth, an educational program involving current events, and her response was chosen for the show. So congratulations. And she couldn't make it tonight. Elise Jones, please come on down. So Elise works hard every day in class by following directions, participates in class discussions, is a kind friend and role model. She has earned points in class by reading books across a wide variety of genres and has stellar scores on her AR quizzes. So congratulations, Elise. Okay, Xander Osterberg. Xander has a strong work ethic while being compassionate towards others, including both peers and adults. His concerns for others' well-being makes him a positive role model. Congratulations. And Madison Stolz. Congratulations, Madison is a student that doesn't allow challenges to get her down. So congratulations, if you want to get your certificate. And she makes corrections on her paperwork in order to take the second chance and learn the material. Madison comes to school every day with a bright smile, making her teacher feel happier when she enters the room, providing joy. Her joy is contagious. So great job, kids. All right, for GPS, we had two students that were building spelling bee. One was an alternative and one was a spelling bee winner. So Journey Ice, please come down. She was our spelling bee alternate. And Sydney Verant was our building spelling bee winner. Congratulations. All right, and then we have Geneva Middle School. We had 3 students who placed in our Patriot Pen competition and won prize money as well. So the first one is Jared Bowers. Nora Gregory. And Lauren Limpert. So these 3 students were local finalists for the annual Patriots Pen Essay Competition sponsored by the VFW Post 6846 Auxiliary, Geneva Middle School. We submitted 77 entries this year, grades 6 through 8, and these were the 3 winners, so really congratulations. And I wanted to recognize our district spelling bee winner. This is a great accomplishment, Alyssa Miller. All right, and finally for our students, the high school. All of these students are part of the Ashtabula County SMASH program. This is Students Making a Safer Highway. It's a teen-led initiative where high school juniors and seniors educate peers about dangers of impaired and distracted driving, speeding, and not wearing seatbelts. The program aims to reduce teen traffic fatalities through student-centered safety campaigns in local schools. And this was launched in Trumbull County, supported by Safe Communities and the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and includes students from all Ashtabula County, Conneaut, Jefferson, Edgewood, Geneva, Grand Valley, and Pine-Bituming Valley. So if these students would come on up, Grace Andrus. Riley Andrusis. Kaylin Surgeon. Max Cochran. William Dushney, and Adeline Shepard. All right. Now for our staff. Austinburg Elementary School, Cindy Rogaski. Yes, come on down. Cindy is a phenomenal teacher and colleague. She often shows her kindness to our staff through thoughtful gifts and gestures. She is always willing to pitch in to help as needed. Cindy is also retiring soon, and she will be sorely missed. So congratulations, Cindy. All right, Cork Elementary School. We have Terry Grimmett. Are you here, Terry? So Terry is basically the glue that keeps our building together. She was always there to do her job, and if you need anything, she has it or an answer for it. From mowing the grass to shoveling, she keeps our building beautiful. She's our union president, which is a full-time job. She deserves recognition, and I will tell you, when I first got here, Terry was one of the first people I met. She couldn't be a kinder, more invested individual. So congratulations, Terry. From GPS, Mary Dudick. Mary goes above and beyond for students, staff members every day. She's incredibly passionate and cares deeply about our students. She is a joy to work with and brings so much to our building every day. Congratulations, Mary. And at our middle school, Alice Colucci. One of her colleagues says, I absolutely love Mrs. Colucci's enthusiasm for teaching her history class. She keeps the students engaged while learning the material by having fun and playing and creating games. She meets the students' needs in various ways by accommodating them in a way that they learn best. She is compassionate, caring, and loves to share her knowledge of history in an exciting way. Our district is lucky to have her, and I enjoy working with her. So congratulations, Alice. And at our high school, Nancy Barbo. Nancy is kind, compassionate teacher who always has the best interests of her students in mind. She is patient with her students, meeting them where they are and working to get them to understand the importance of doing well in school. She always sees the best in her students and makes them know that she cares about them, not just as students, but as people as well. Great job, Nancy. And last but not least, for our staff, the Central Office Transportation Bus Garage, Bobby Horvath. One of her colleagues writes, I would like to recognize Bobby Horvath for exceptional knowledge and unwavering dedication to supporting our school community. She's always willing to help when asked, consistently taking the time to work one-on-one with parents and staff to ensure understanding and accuracy. Her patience, professionalism, collaborative spirit makes even the most complex processes feel manageable. Beyond providing support, she freely shares her expertise with others, strengthening our team and promoting best practices across the district. Her commitment and willingness to go above and beyond makes a meaningful difference for our students, family, and staff. You do a great job, Bobby. Congratulations. All right, so in case you haven't heard, January is Board Recognition Month. Yes, you guys are being recognized too, so congratulations. Each January, we join with the Ohio School Boards Association to celebrate and recognize our local Board of Education. As citizens who serve children and represent their communities, individual school board members face complex, demanding challenges. Their love of learning and concern in caring for students, staff, and the community drive board members' desires to lead so students can achieve. It's my pleasure to recognize our board members and to thank them for their service to the district. Now, I know I haven't been here that long, but I can surely tell you the dedication that these board members bring to this district is a blessing to this district. Mr. Steve Andrus, beginning his first year of service. Come up and get your certificate, please. Mr. Joseph Cooper, beginning his first year of service. We're going to take a picture. Yeah. Miss Elizabeth Cybulski, this is 2 years of service, with 2 years of service. Miss Michele Krieg, 2 years of service. And Mr. Brock Pierson with 2 years of service. All right, at this time, if you were given an award and you don't want to stay for the rest, we do give you time to leave, but you're more than welcome to stay for the whole meeting. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
All right, at this point of the meeting, it's time for the public comment portion. You will have 5 minutes to come to the microphone and speak if you so wish. Please state your name and address, and you're welcome to come and speak at this time. Yay. Okay. So we're going to move on to letter J on the agenda, which is the Athletic High School Wing Transformation Presentation with Ms. Jennifer Crossley.
You can assist her.
But you are welcome to assist.
Okay. All right. Good evening. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to come in and speak to you tonight.
I've had several people ask me about why the school is paying for hallways to be painted when there's other things that the money could be spent on, talking to different people about the levy for the stadium and so forth. So therefore, I want to take the opportunity to present to the board and the community about all the great upgrades that have taken place in the athletic wing of the high school over the past 19 years. All these upgrades were donated funds from the community and donated labor. The upgrades to our facilities were not just about improvement or appearance. They are about creating a space where students feel valued, supported, and proud of where they learn and compete. Incorporating our school colors helps enforce a sense of identity, unity, and belonging for everyone who walks through these doors. For our students, especially those who spend countless hours here, the environment matters. A space that reflects school pride sends a clear message: you belong here, and what you do matters. It honors the effort, dedication, and commitment our students and staff bring every day, and it helps build confidence, morale, and respect for the space they share. These upgrades were made with care and intention to create a welcoming, uplifting environment that supports the student well-being, celebrates our school community, and inspires pride in representing our school both now and for years to come. The first item was removing the old gym centerpiece from the high school on Sherman Street before it was torn down. A booster member removed the gym floor with permission from the school, and then Paul Dombrowski, which was a custodian at the time, and Jason Dalton, one of the past wood shop teachers, built the frame around the floor using leftover pieces from the new gym floor here at the school on Route 84. Sponsorship packages. Geneva Athletic Boosters sell packages for sponsorships, which include banners on gym walls, and some packages include ads in the various programs. The funds they use from these packages help to buy uniforms, awards, patches for the jackets, etc. Then they try their best not to ask these businesses again for donations throughout the year. Main gym entrances. Funds for the door wraps, the PVC board, which is the Eagle Territory section there, and rugs donated by the city church. Door wraps and the PVC boards were installed by a few coaches, teachers, and myself. The quotes on the beams were picked, and then Mrs. Unsinger made and installed them. We have various ones within the hallway. Inside the main gym doors, windows of the doors were removed and replaced with wood by the wood shop teacher, Jason Dalton, at the time, so the doors wraps would be a complete look. Bobby McCoy's classes designed the inside window wraps and installed them. I saw the graphic that is above the door on a parent's t-shirt at one of the volleyball games, and I just thought it would look perfect above the doors. So Mrs. Unsinger made the design with the Cricut and installed them above the doors for us. Mouth is dry. Inside the gym doors going down the phys ed hallway also had door wraps put on the windows. We kept the windows there so you could actually see in and out. Baseball and softball dugouts of the varsity fields were a gray cinder block from the time they were built in roughly 2008, 2009 until the spring of 2021, about 17 years. A group of teachers and I were talking one day about how they should be painted. I explained that it was not that maintenance did not want to paint them, just that there were not enough hours in the day. Somebody said we should paint them. And so at the next athletic booster meeting, I asked if they would donate the white paint. They did. And a group of teachers and I painted all 4 dugouts white. We painted for a few hours each Wednesday for a few weeks. Once it was completed, the athletic boosters, baseball and softball teams donated a portion from their fundraisers to pay to have the graphics painted on them. JV baseball and softball dugouts. The only thing missing out there on those fields were dugouts. The athletic boosters purchased the materials for 4 dugouts. The athletic boosters spent one Saturday in August to install all the upright poles, and Raymond Builders donated the post hole digger for the day. Then once we got back to school, Jason Dalton's class went out and finished building all the dugouts. It took them all fall to finish them. Very time consuming when you're going in and out all day with different classes and telling everybody where you're starting and where you're taking off again. But the students really enjoyed seeing what they built and the finished products when it was done. Weight room window wraps. So the weight room has windows on two sides. Olivia Reese designed the wraps and installed them as part of one of her final projects for one of Mr. McCoy's classes. She also did the same for the PE athletic storage doors, which are shown here. The main gym wall mats. The previous mats came with the building when it was built, and they were a solid red, and they take a lot of wear and tear when you have phys ed classes in there every day, and also all the sports. So with the help of Mr. Barbo, Company Box, and Ashtabula Dairy Queen, and Geneva on the Lake Dairy Queen donated the funds for the new mats with graphics. So this is the visitor side, Eagle Territory, and the home side that has Geneva Eagles on it. Okay. The digital display. Over the years, I've had several people in the community talk to me about the old trophies and what we did with them or what we do with them. Our current trophy cases are overflowing. Coaches have trophies all over their rooms because we just do not have enough storage. I spoke with Mr. King about the possibility of digital wall display. He was on board with the project if I could secure the funds. Funds were donated by the classes of 2018 through 2024, the Geneva Letterman's Club, and Ellen and Larry Cumston. Uploading the past material is a daunting task, but yearbook, some coaches and myself are working on trying to get the past items of history loaded as fast as we can. Concession stand. The red wall in the athletic booster stand was very blah. The boosters had tried to run several contests several times to pick an artist to paint a mural on it. But due to various reasons, it never would get completed. I asked Mrs. Monahan if she would be willing to oversee a group of students painting in the concession stand. She took her planning period and some of her students out of study hall and painted away. Tuffy now struts proudly with his popcorn and drink in hand to the game. Weight room upgrade. Many coaches had been stressing the need, and still do, that the weight room is too small for all the teams that need to use it at the same time. Some of the equipment that was purchased when the building was built was outdated, and the need for more racks was crucial. John Barbo took the lead on this project. He ran the Goodwill fundraiser for the project. All the athletic teams that use the locker rooms donated money to the project from their fundraisers, and the school used some money as well, since this room is used as a physical education classroom throughout the day. We purchased 3 more half racks with all the weights and equipment that come with it. We had upgrades to the old 3 full racks and a new complete rack of dumbbells. Then the football coaches and a few football players moved all the equipment, deep cleaned the floors, and added a fresh new coat of paint on the walls. The class of 2024 donated the funds for the PVC board, which is that Stronger Than Yesterday sign, and then also an entrance rug. And now to the GHS main event hallway upgrade. Boring brown, that's about all I can say. Everyone always talks about how blah it is and no school colors in the high school anywhere. As I traveled to so many games at so many schools over the past 19 years, I'm always amazed at all the school colors and school pride that meet me as I enter the buildings. Geneva is very limited in that feeling when you enter the high school. So I kept asking past superintendents if we could paint the walls of the main hallway. Finally, Dr. Lombardo embraced the idea. He loved what was being envisioned and gave me the blessing to move forward. Many people helped to come up with the theme of the gray with the red and white stripes. This is a work in progress and has taken a whole lot more time than I expected, but the excitement we have seen from the students and community will be worth it. All the funds for the painting of the main hallway, the hallway to the locker rooms and behind the auditorium have been raised. People have donated their time to paint. I've learned more than I probably ever will need to about painting tricks and painting brick. But we have a lot more work to do, but I'm optimistic we'll get more volunteers to keep painting and get this project done. So these are the other 3 hallways that we will soon be working on. We are currently working on a word wall, which I envision will be the entire length of the wall between the 2 bathrooms. The vision is to have the students of Geneva City Schools help come up with our words for the wall. With school being canceled yesterday, I did not get a chance to pitch my thoughts to the principals of the district, but we will be doing that next Tuesday. The words that I would like to use are words that represent what it means to be a Geneva Eagle or a good citizen of Geneva. This is an example of what it will hopefully look like, using our school colors and our logo, of course. The OHSAA Champions Wall. We plan to put the OHSAA Champions back up on the wall between the main auditorium doors and the digital display. We have 5 total champions. We have 4 frames because 2 of them are together on 1 frame. And then there will be room to expand with other champions to come. Between the digital display and the end of that hallway, before you get to the band room section, our plan is to do kind of a current season / theater, band, choir showcase. So the plan is to rotate the teams of each season. So for example, in the fall, there's 9 sports. Let's see, theater, rotate them with their several plays, marching band, jazz band, choir, and GIs. We're looking at silver or white frames on the walls and then having signage above them as well. And then we'll rotate the athletic ones for the winter and athletic ones for the spring and so forth. The entrance hall. Since the wall is brown and then we'll turn to red, gray, and white just after the cafeteria, the goal is to install a type of entranceway with signage above and down the walls to make it more visual appearing. So Bobby McCoy added that for me. It won't quite look like that. It'll match the colors. The company's actually working on the graphics and that right now for us. With the help of the high school PBIS group, we ran announcements about the entrance and offered a chance to turn your idea for the entrance in right before Christmas break. I also sent it out to the staff of the district to let me know if they had an idea. We settled on, "Welcome to the nest, where legends take flight." So that will be our entranceway. Then our donations to this point. The Worcester Brush Company actually donated all of the brushes, rollers, painting trays, large rollers to paint the brick, buckets, poles, a lot of stuff. Somebody gave me a lead on this, and I thought, who down in Worcester is going to help out a little school up in Geneva? And I thought, well, what do I have to lose? They're just going to tell me no. So I did call, and the lady was very nice, and she said, absolutely, what do you need? And I said, I don't know what I need. And I sent her pictures, and then she came up with what we need. So very nice to have them. Sherwin-Williams, they gave us on this main hallway, they called it, like, I can't remember what they called it, but they ended up giving us about 50% off the paint on just this main hallway. Great Lakes Ballet, they purchased all the tape and plastic for the project. Raymond Builders, we have a verbal on them to help with our word wall. Geneva Gridiron Club gave us funds for signage. Mats and Donuts gave us funds to help with the project as well. And Trice Back and Neck Clinic also has given us a verbal with help on the word wall. Individual donors, these are just the people that have donated money, and Krieg, Georgiana and Randy Hartz, Michael King, Joanne O'Connor, Kevin Hutchins, which is one of the Athletic Booster members, and a dad to our athletes. He drove all the way to Worcester to pick up the supplies for us. Game bucket donations, I just set out a bucket and asked people to donate, telling everybody about the project, showing them the pictures. We raised about $148, and then we had 2 anonymous donations toward the paint cost. Our volunteer painters, we started on December 27th. These were all of our painters that showed up that day. We had 2 different shifts. Some stayed all day, some just came for a couple hours in and out. Then Mr. Barbo and Kevin Hutchins came in because we didn't quite get the red done, and they wanted to get some red on that wall before people came back in January. So they worked on December 28th. A few of us worked on January 3rd to try to get a little bit more done. And then on January 7th, we brought the girls basketball team, stayed after practice, and they worked on a lot of the touch-ups that needed to be done. And then our last paint was Martin Luther King Day, and we came in and started on the PE hallway to get that done. So looks like we're going to have another paint day this Saturday. So if anybody wants to come out and paint for us, we're going to put that one on social media and see if we can get more people out here to get these walls finished up. So thank you. Any questions? No? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. For the report of the superintendent, I recommend the board approves a letter of understanding between GATA and the Board of Education for 25-26 as presented in the attached summary.
I'll move.
All right, as far as discussion, so this is a agreement between GATA and the Board of Education. We've been working with the teachers union on providing an opportunity for what's called a teacher-based team, so an opportunity to collaborate with each other. And we found a time before school with what we're calling a late start. This will be for middle school and high school. It'll be 20 minutes late start, but students who ride the bus will not be affected. So students will be able to come at regular time. We'll have supervision. But this will allow our teachers to work collaboratively. We made the agreement just for this year through June, so we can kind of figure out if this is something that we feel is effective. Jen, do you want to come up and just talk real briefly about TBTs?
So teacher-based teams, or PLCs they're called, it's a really collaboration time for teachers. From basically it's action research. They learn from one another on what the best instructional practices are for our kids. So every district has students that differ. And so in Geneva, we're hoping that we have expert teachers here that we can learn from one another on what works best for our kids. So that time is great. We can look at some common formative assessment data to see what students are performing at grade level or at standards, at the standards we want them to, and then which ones are not, and what can we do to help support those students. So that's what the time is for. It's going to be once a week, but the teachers are going to do every other week for a while until we see how the supervision goes. Because we're hoping, well, we're not hoping, but hopefully we can get every teacher collaborating every week, but it might be every other week at first. So we'll see how it goes. Any questions?
And the elementary schools do have these collaborative teams on it's a weekly basis already. So we didn't need to make any adjustments there. Again, it'll be a 20-minute late start on Wednesdays for middle school and high school, but those that are riding the bus can come regular time. We did not want to disrupt the bus schedule.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Cybulski?
Yes.
Mrs. Krieg?
Yes.
Mr. Pierson?
Yes.
And Mr. Andrus?
All right, you may recall last meeting, we had our first reading of board policies. There were 3 of them we were updating. Our district practices 2 readings before we make a final decision. So I am recommending approval tonight for the following new revised replacement policies that the board, that I'm asking the board to adopt. The first one is 5122, entrance requirements. Policy 7440.03, small unmanned aircraft systems, that's drones. And policy 9700.01, advertising and commercial activities.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
Yeah, so the first one, we wanted to make sure that our policy and our administrative guidelines matched up with preschool entrance as well as kindergarten. That's August 1st. The small unmanned aircraft systems, we did not want to fully eliminate drones because of technology, but we do have parameters around using drones in our district. And the 9700.01 advertising and commercial activities. This is going to be used when we go through our naming and sponsoring initiatives for our athletic facility. This will give us some ground rules on doing that. So I will ask the board to vote on these three tonight, please.
You have questions?
I do. So the second one, 7440.01, that won't eliminate us from having a class on drones eventually if we choose to, correct?
Right. Our original one did eliminate us from using drones at all in the district. This will allow us to use them during class periods or during specific times that we approve.
And does this not allow our opponents on the football field to fly their drones over top of us? It'd be okay if it does, but
Yeah, we don't want them doing that.
we don't want them doing that, no. So they would have to request it, correct?
Yes,
Is that
they'd
how
have
I
to
read
request it,
Okay.
and both teams would have to do the same, yes. Right.
That's all, yeah, that's
Good.
all. Yep, thank you.
All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Cybulski.
Yes.
Mrs. Krieg.
Yes.
Mr. Pierson.
Yes.
Mr. Andrus. And Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, I recommend approval of the enclosed last chance agreement between the Board of Education and one of our staff members.
Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Not much discussion here. We just came to an agreement with one of our staff members for a last chance agreement.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Krieg.
Yes.
Mr. Pierson.
Yes.
Mr. Andrus. Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
And Mrs. Cybulski.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, number 4, I recommend the following personnel actions for the 25-26 contract year. You will see we're going to take all these down from A. We are hiring a tutor. You'll see our extracurriculars are being approved for the upcoming sports. Substitute secretary, we do have some other substitutes. Couple leave of absences and a retirement. Cindy Rogaski is retiring after 29 years. It's amazing. And she is going to be missed.
Do we do these individually, or are you asking for a
No, we're
motion
doing them all together.
altogether?
Thank you, Mrs. Rogaski.
Thank you. You will be sorely missed.
Yes. I need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
And a second? Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Pierson.
Yes.
Mr. Andrus. Mr. Cooper.
Abstain?
Mrs. Cybulski.
Yes.
And Mrs. Krieg.
Yes. Motion carries.
Testing. All right. We now have 2 of our students from our superintendent advisory group to come up and talk with you. We have Amelia Armington and Bradley Hedjek. I always say your name wrong, and I apologize. So if you guys go ahead up to the mic here and tell us all kinds of good stuff, what's happening here in Geneva.
Okay. So starting off, the National Honor Society is hosting the spaghetti dinner, and that's going to be February 10th. Tickets are being made right now, and then they're going to be sold momentarily, so that's coming up. And then tomorrow night is the wrestling team's senior night. So that's kind of the important stuff that I have. And then I just wanted to say that the school, Geneva Schools, to me, means it provides lots of opportunities for students, especially with like field trips and everything. So I think that what we're doing here at Geneva is very inspiring, and it inspired me when I went to my first field trip. there was a lady there that was talking about being a pilot, and that inspired me to actually start flying. So I now fly at Northeast Regional Airport in Jefferson, and that just kind of goes to show how this school can provide opportunities and is very impactful for everyone. So.
I just wanted to say the school means a lot to me, not just because of the education I've received, but because of all the friends and relationships I've made with teachers and coaches and all of the skills and knowledge they've taught me. Some recent sports things, basketball has been happening. The boys varsity record is 8-4, the JV is 6-6, and the freshman is 9-2. For girls, the varsity is 9-5. And the basketball senior night is Friday the 23rd. And the girls' swim team has won the CVC, and the boys finished second.
All right, thank you guys so much. I'm so proud of these students. I have 17 in this group, and they just do an amazing job. All right, the next thing on our presentation is the school calendar. So there's a lot of words. Testing one. Can you hear me okay? There are a lot of words on this, but when you adopt a school calendar, we have policy and we do have administrative guidelines. So policy 8210 talks about at least 30 days prior to board making an approval on the school calendar for the next year that we hold a hearing. So tonight is the first reading or the hearing of the calendars. The administrative guideline also says that I shall annually recommend to the Board of Education a school calendar that complies with the following information. Now, some years ago, the state moved towards hours for students. So if you look, students for half-day kindergarten has to have 455 hours for the year. Grades 1 through 6, all the elementaries have to have 910 hours, and then 7 through 12 have to have 1,001 hours. What I have here is I have 2 recommended calendars, and I'm going to show you them. I'm going to put them up here in a second. But the first calendar has the students' first day on August 25th. This aligns with what we've done last year and in the past. Thanksgiving break is the same, with the Wednesday prior will be a day off, and the Monday after will also be a full day off. Winter break falls within the time of the holiday. Spring break's at the end of March, and students' last day is June 3rd. Now the Calamity Day 15, that means those are days that we can call off for inclement weather up to 15 days a year before we have to make up any days, and that's quite a bit. So I'll show you this one real quick. So what's going to happen, so this is the first calendar that I'm recommending. And then I will send this PowerPoint. This will be on the superintendent's page, so you can take your time and go through that. Our second one is different, and maybe the district hasn't had this type of schedule before. I have talked with some of the board members. I've also talked with some of the teachers, and a couple of things that are interesting about this one. The students' first day would be August 18th, so this is a week or so earlier than you've ever had here. Thanksgiving break would be the same, winter break would be the same, spring break would be the same, but students' last day would be next year prior to Memorial Day. It would be May 27th. Now, what makes this calendar, I think, what makes this calendar a little bit, well, I'll just say it, a little nicer, because I've heard a lot of comments, is in January, you'll notice that, oh, wow, there we are. In January, you'll notice that prior to the break, there's always this week and a half or 2 weeks for exams, right? You come back in January and you take your exams, and that seems to be a little bit of a hassle. What we have done, what I'm proposing, is that at the end of December, before we leave for break, that's when your finals will happen. This way, when students come back, they don't have to remember throughout the break what's going on, and they could start fresh on January 4th. This would in turn get us out in May, which is a second option. So the next steps, and I will take questions here in a minute, but the next steps would be, I'm going to be sending out a community feedback survey. So both of these will be out there. It'll be a real quick survey. Give us some feedback in the next 30 days, and then I will be sending out a staff survey. So all the staff will have an opportunity to give us some feedback. I'll compile that information. I'll bring it back to the board in February, and then at that time, the board can choose to vote on a calendar. Okay, so you have any questions or comments over the two proposals?
A comment. Number two is what I'm currently experiencing, and I love it personally. So,
Okay.
I think it's great. But Paul, I don't know that you sent this to us. I think the one you sent was getting out June 10th or something like that. Was your second one? So you just may want to check that. I don't know.
Yes, this one is new. I put this together last night,
Okay.
truth be told, and I
Just
knew
wanna
we
make
had
sure we're
30
on the
days, so
same.
yeah, I did not. That other one I didn't propose.
Okay, thank you.
And do you
Mr.
have,
C's on about this? 'Cause I don't want to pick a fight with any drill.
I don't know. I'm throwing this out there.
Well, you make their workers, they'll find you.
Yeah, and it was told to me
I
that
just
the
wanna
later
make
the
sure-
better because of what's happening, how
I just wanna
kids
make
are
sure
out
we're
working.
legally on the right page.
So that's why I presented two, and you guys work it out.
And I think I would encourage filling out the community survey and maybe even sending that to Mr. Cezanne and asking him to fill that out, or business owners at the lake, because that is a concern, obviously. But then conversely, they get them June 1st. They get them June 1st. I mean, you can't have it both ways, I guess. So which way's better? And I also think at some point we have to take what's best for our students into account.
I think, and that's the other piece of it too. I think we have to consider, I think looking at the high school schedule as far as testing and when midterms fall, and if we can acknowledge that and what's better for our kids. And then although we don't want to be a slave to state testing, we have to consider when we need to have our kids in school to have enough time to prepare them for that calendar. We did look at County Fair, which is that week, which is the second week. I believe I looked it up. It was the 18th. This was a conversation we had yesterday with Dr. Lombardo, Beth and I. But there's a lot of things to consider, and we are aware of the lake piece. But again, we have to think of as a Board of Education, we have to think of our students and their needs. I think it's something to consider, and I think the survey piece is going to be a good way to gauge what the community thinks, and we can take all of that information and make, a good choice that will serve everyone, and then bring some things to our attention that maybe we haven't even thought of or considered yet. So again, we've got time throwing it out there, and we're thankful that, Dr. Lombardo listened to our,
Stays up late at night.
stays up late at night and listens to our requests.
Yeah, I try to listen. That's the number one thing I need to do. So I got to listen to the board. All right. So again, we're not making any decisions tonight. This will be on our website, and anyone could log on our website, and I will be sending this out to all the families tomorrow. All right. You may have heard, I have talked at the board meeting about our Family Resource Center. So we are up and running, gathering information. So we're doing a needs assessment. I did send out, unfortunately, the first one I sent out had the wrong dates. These are the right dates, and I resent it out today, truth be told. So Wednesday, the January 28th, and then Tuesday, February 3rd at 5 o'clock. Any community members are welcome. We are doing some listening sessions I know Mr. Specia, who's running these, we were with the Student Advisory Committee today. They did an amazing job giving us some feedback. We've already talked to counselors and administrators, and you can see he's going to all the buildings to gather feedback. He's going to compile this feedback, and then this will be the needs assessment for our Family Resource Center. Every Family Resource Center needs to listen to their community and provide what that community needs. And in order to do that, we need to hear from as many community members as possible. If you can't make the meeting, there's a QR code. You can do the survey right there, or there is a link. This was sent out to everyone, and I will have this on the superintendent's report on my website, and you could take advantage of that. But real excited to get this project up and running. Really, really excited about this. Did I tell you I'm really excited about that? I maybe not sound like because I'm tired right now, but no, I'm super excited about that. All right, and it's my pleasure to present to you Melissa Doherty. Now, I do have to say this because I hear it's your birthday today. And I'm just saying, she picked today, and I said to her, you could pick any board meeting, but this is her actual birthday. So happy birthday to you, Melissa.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So come on up, or you can stay there, and you can use this here, whatever you want to do. Here. You just press the button. You just press this one. Yep.
I'm old. Does technology stop this stuff? Okay. It's going to be, I don't know if you guys need to look at me or what, but anyway, we've been asked to share our building level action plan, which is what we want to work on. We looked at our state report card, of course, and found some areas that we do need to work on. And so there are 3 areas. One, we looked at our measurable growth in math. Our math scores just are not going up. They're going up and down, up and down. And of course, I have according to the MAP assessments, but of course, it's also our state report card, our Ohio State testing scores. The second area we looked at, just really popped out, was to increase our grade 5 science, Ohio State test proficiency rate for students with disabilities. We really do need to close that gap. That's where a lot of for our report card, where we're losing some of the stars and some of the points because of that. So we got to look into that. And then, of course, absenteeism. I know Mr. King talked about attendance at the last meeting, but we really do need to bring that percentage down and decrease chronic absenteeism. We're currently at 22.7%. We need to go to the state report card goal of 16.4%. So a lot to work on, lots to work on for us. So some of our strategies, especially this is for, if you look on the top, our focus number 1, our math. And I do have TBT up there. We do meet weekly for our TBT meetings. And sometimes if our teachers get together and they discuss and look over data and that, a lot of times someone might be absent or we might not have a substitute for something, so they don't always get to meet. But they do make a point of meeting before school, after school. They're constantly talking and working together, so that's fabulous to see. But what we're going to do, and we are doing, is analyze past Ohio State math test scores from 3rd grade to current grade. We want to compare them to the MAP scores, and I'll show you that in a minute. January 20th through the 30th, we're just beginning to administer our MAP winter math test. So I can't really show you progress on that because we haven't gotten any data yet. We're going to work on that. We're also analyze and compare projections and growth. I'll show you that in a minute. And use MAP has where you can go in, it tells you exactly the weak areas or the strengths for each student. Teachers can build lessons upon that, group students certain ways, so they do that at all times. And IXL helps support that as well to give them some practice. And of course, we're going to use discuss formative assessments to monitor progress. And again, TBT, they're sharing what works, and that's what we want to do. We don't want to waste our time on strategies that do not work. And of course, we want to reinforce teacher-student conferencing practices. In the past, we've done that before, especially with our STAR quizzes that we used to use. It's so nice to sit down with that student and have that discussion with them, helps them have that ownership, and so we really want to push that. And also reinforce simple goal setting. It doesn't have to be a huge goal for the kids. I showed some examples to teachers. We're trying some of those, and just so they have the feeling of, I did this, I did this, I did this, and give them that confidence and that ownership again. Very important. So, this is some of the TBT conversations. I won't go over all of it, but that first section, that is what they have put in their TBT form. So they are looking at the math. I didn't want to give student names, of course. So they're looking at what each student needs so that they can then create small groups to work on those specific needs and help them and give possibly exit tickets in that so that they can check their understanding. So this is what teachers had given as just conversation. I wanted to share that with you just so you know that they are having valuable conversation during their TBT time. It is not a waste of time. And one of them is reading. It's not just all math, but they're looking at their RIMP students. Those are students that are at risk for reading. We really need to focus and help them. Just end of units. I just put that second one in there because students were given paper assessment instead of digital and they performed better. So that was interesting, I thought. And then last, just finishing up, just some ideas for you. And they want to work in small groups to remediate students who are struggling to order fractions. And then, of course, then they're sharing when there are more than 2 choices, and using charts and the 1/2 as a benchmark has been an effective strategy. So they're sharing strategies as well. So I just wanted to throw that in there to share that a little bit with you on the hard work that they're doing, just the conversations, that's what's really important. And narrowing down for their students. Okay, here's some data that was given to the teachers at the beginning of the year, and we still go back and look at it. But I've focused on math at the end there. And this is tracking 3rd grade into 4th grade for their math tests. And it is, if you can see up there, the first column that is highlighted, that's the MAP projected math score. So it just projects if they are going to be proficient for the Ohio State test, accelerated, basic. And then I gave the actual spring math scores from the Ohio State tests. And the highlighted, the orange ones are the accurate predictions that MAP did have. So they do have some accurate predictions for us, and I wanted to share that. And then at the end is just the projections for math for 4th grade. That was the fall MAP test. Again, once we are able to use that winter assessment, I will adjust some of this data or add to it because that is very important. I did note under the ELA, which is off to your left, if you note the pink highlight fuchsia, the score, that's 3rd grade fall ELA OST, which I know we're talking math right now, but they scored an 8, I can't see it from here, but like an 8-10. But then if you look at their spring score, it went down. So it just goes to show there could be a lot of things happening with these kids on those days, and you just never know. Or they know that they scored that well, that, okay, you're making me take this test again, I'm just going to do what I need to do. But you just don't know, and that's what we're always doing, and I think that's why TBTs are so important, because we're always chasing this moving target. So that I just wanted to point out there. And then our special ed for the ELA, I did highlight over there too. That just, again, this was discussions with teachers. The other highlighted is improvements from fall to spring. Their scores that were improved if you're looking at the ELA. So we are really, I'm sharing this with you to show you that we are digging deep and using our data and making sure that we are using it to drive our instruction and make our decisions. Again, I track third to fourth, and then the fifth projection. This one, I really wanted to look at the special ed improvement. I know our one focus is special ed with science, but it's always a focus for us. And just so, in the green is our special ed students that did improve from the fall, from the third grade OST to the fourth grade OST. So we are making a little bit of a headway with our special ed students, which is very important. And then the light blue is just improvements. But again, I just wanted to share this with you because we are using this data. Very important. And then this is just a picture from, it's an individual student growth chart in MAP. So this just shows a projection there as well. Teachers can go in, they can set a goal for their students. They can, like I said, there's a lot of data in there. There's a lot of data in IXL. Those are programs that students go online and they can work on. So I just wanted to share that with you, just to show you that there is a lot of information in the system for us to help us guide our instruction. And then this is our focus number two. We want to increase grade 5 on the science, Ohio State test proficiency for students with disabilities. If you take a minute to really look at some of this, especially the bottom one, the blue bars and the red bars, those are through the years. It's starting with 2020 to 2021. It's going down through the years. And if you notice, the red bar is significantly lower in percentage than the blue bar, and that is our students with disabilities for science. So that is a problem that screams out at you just looking at this chart. And it'll compare, like the last 2 years, I think in the 2023, 2024, in the red, we had 8 students testing, 1 passed with being proficient. The 24-25, we had 6 students testing and 1 passed being proficient. So we really got to get that 1 up. We want more than 1. So our red bar grows. So that's what really stood out for us, that we did need to focus on that. 5th grade is our only grade that does test science. And, we've made some changes with that too. I'll share that with you. So our strategies in progress for our second focus. We reviewed and are adjusting student inclusion schedules to ensure students are exposed to the science content firsthand from the content teacher. And down a little bit lower, I did add that the teachers are departmentalizing, so we have 1 teacher that's teaching science to both 5th grade classes, which I think really helps, especially for our intervention specialists, which is what the IS is, because that's just 1 teacher they are working with on 1 schedule, and that does help them as well. Again, there's that TBT. The IS is the intervention specialists work with our teachers during TBT, sharing ideas. We really want the intervention specialists to front load information so that the students are understanding of the lessons coming up. Also, we want to set student growth goals outside of the IEP goals for science. I'll admit it, we're kind of weak in that area. We got to work on that one a little bit more. We've been just focusing on their IEP goals and that. So we want to work on that. And this is the big one, I think, with our special ed students. We really want to practice and simulate the test taking, because when it comes to looking at charts and typing in extended time, if they're not allowed that accommodation or any accommodations to help with that, it really undermines, they're really not getting a true picture of what our students know. So we're really focusing on that. Our intervention specialists are making sure that they are taking time to do that, especially with extended typing. It's just difficult. It's difficult for all students, so we are trying to really work on that. And then really using our reading intervention time, because a lot of them, we do have that reading specialist teacher now. She is pulling out science topic books for them to go over and read, just to really immerse them even more. So we want to focus on that. I was just shocked by that previous chart, and I think we do need to do something about that. And then our third focus is absenteeism. This is our chronic absenteeism percent, and this is our gap closing indicator on our report card. We've gone up and down. I don't know what happened in 22-23, 31%, that's really high. But last year's was was better than this year, and we are really trying to get that down. I did include pictures on there just so, the kids know we do have fun at school, and you kind of want to come to school, so, it's fun there some days. So anyway, and there's really when we did some research on this, there's two major issues with students not wanting to attend school. It's anxiety, just fear of failure, fear of judgment, social anxiety, and then engagement. They just are not interested in, what's happening or, what we're doing. So, and that spirals, the anxiety and the engagement. They don't want to come to school, so with them not coming to school, they're missing the content, so they're getting further behind, and then that just creates a vortex that, is hard to get to. But we are really looking at our percentages. Now, these percentages here, Dr. Lombardo shares with us, and he makes sure that we're looking at them, gives us this data. So we went from 5.2% to 6% in October to 7.4% in November to 8% in December. That's a problem. So we need to be going the other way. So, and to be quite honest, this is our New Year's resolution. It just was something that we've been talking about, trying to figure out what we want to do. So, and then it felt silly to start in the middle of November, so we started and used it as a New Year's resolution. And we have a bulletin board posting of the percentages so we can keep track. And I do morning announcements. We're going to announce our perfect attendance and those students, because we do have some. And of course, we always have an assembly at the end of the year that we recognize that. But that just has not been enough for us, as you can tell by the data, to get these kids here. And also, of course, there's been that flu going around that I know nothing about from last month, but that's of course when they're sick, we don't want them at school and they need to be home. So it's a catch-22. It's difficult, but we're going to try to entice them. And then this is what we're doing is we do warm welcomes. We greet students with smiles, positive words. It says special handshakes in there. Mrs. Ball, our fifth grade teacher, she has a special handshake for each of her students, and she remembers them. It's like all these steps, a kick, a tap, a turn around, and she remembers them. And then they do them at our end of year assembly as well. So that means a lot to them. Mentor, we pair students with staff to check in. We use morning circles or morning time. A lot of teachers will use morning meetings, and there's social emotional topics on there just to help them. And we just want a culture of kindness, respect, and we want them to feel safe. And that's important, safe to make mistakes. And so we're working on that. We have our school counselor. Thank you very much. We have someone there almost every day. So important. And then we are preparing to incorporate the district MTSS vision and plan in there. We are posting our weekly attendance. It shouldn't be weekly, it should be monthly. I'm sorry, I wanted to do weekly, but I'm gonna try and announce here and there, but monthly. And again, morning announcements, hopefully they're listening to me, but we do shout outs all the time on a lot of things, so we wanna make sure we're doing that. Positive notes home, free homework pass. We really toyed and talked about, to begin with, all these rewards and we really didn't want to start off going down that path, because we wanted to create a culture of just wanting to come to school and be to school. And really we want to focus on parents too. And I do have handouts and I do make announcements with this information, but the parents need to see when a student misses 2 days a month, they'll miss 20 days of school. I mean, those are big numbers out there. 30 hours of math per school year, that's a lot of time. 60 hours of reading and writing per school year. So the more we get that out to parents, hopefully then they'll understand that, yes, we need to be at school. We need to schedule vacations, hopefully during the summer. So we do have a lot of that too. So we're looking at each student, digging deeper into who we really need to focus on at this time. So, and that is it. Hopefully I didn't bore you. Any questions?
When your IEP kids are taking your state exam, are they allowed to have their adaptations during the state exam, or I misunderstood.
Have their what?
Their adaptations.
Yeah, they have, oh, yes,
The same thing
definitely.
that
We
you were
give
teaching.
them accommodations, we try, but the state has pulled back a lot on accommodations that we can give. And that's kind of frustrating because they do need it and they do so much better when they have stronger accommodations.
So you're giving them more accommodations in the classroom
trying
than
to-
you're
yes.
allowed from the state of Ohio?
No, well, yeah, but the state tests have certain accommodations are allowed. The classroom we can do, yeah.
More
We're
for-
trying to, yeah, of course, more. We want them to be successful.
Correct. So
Yeah.
they would probably test better if the accommodations that they had in the classroom were allowed on the state
Mm-hmm.
test. Is what I'm
Oh,
asking.
and we have data to prove that because they've pulled back on some, scribing and things like that, that our students were scoring much better with that help. So, and there's strict rules. It's not, it's what it's not giving them the answers or helping them in any way other than to level the playing field. That's what accommodations are all about, just to make it level, so.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
you're welcome.
that.
Anything else? Thank you for your attention. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your hard work.
Come to Cork. Thank you for my birthday. Thank you. It's fun getting old. It really is.
All right, and I think I'm done. Thank you.
All right, it's time for our athletic facility discussion.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Russell Gayhart. I'm an architect, project manager at GPD Group. We're the architects, engineers, and planners that you got to work with for the athletic master planning portion of this project in its infancy. We got a chance to meet with the committee and present to the board in December. We really wanted to kind of put that out there, but then say we're excited to come back in January and kick it off to the new board members. So for tonight, we just wanted to really give an update on the athletic master plan, share that plan that we shared in December with some very minor tweaks, share those costs, both hard costs and soft costs. I'll explain what that means in a second. We'll talk about the project schedule, which is really the exciting part, like how can we make this plan and turn it into a reality. I've heard from the district that there's been highs, there's lows, there's been hope, there's been no hope, and so it's kind of really exciting to get to a point where we feel the project is really achievable, and so we're just looking to the district and to the board to really kind of make that next step. And so I'll talk through a project or a proposed project schedule down on the agenda, and then we'll talk about fundraising, which I know Dr. Lombardo has started the resolutions in order for the district to be able to start to reach out to community, fundraise, friend raise, and start to rally those funds to make this a reality. So really quickly, just to show the committee, I mentioned this in the December board meeting, but parents, administration for the district, volunteers, athletic director, principals. There's so many people that got involved, and it's really special to just be the voice that shares. In some ways, I was just the pencil that put all their thoughts onto the master plan and renderings, which Dr. Lombardo has presented over here. I'll share them virtually, but they're also there to take a look at too at your leisure. So what does the master planning effort look like in terms of the master plan? A lot went into the plan pre-bond. We revisited that entire master plan, rolled up our sleeves, and said, what does this district need at a minimum? And so we obviously have a budget to contend with and district dollars that they have. And so what we really tried to do was start from scratch almost, say, what could we do now, get everything we need, and what does that allow us to afford with the dollars we have without asking the community for additional funds? And so we're excited to share where the master plan ended up. I'll walk through some of the highlights, and then I'll show the rendering on the next slide. And then Michelle, if you want to kind of piggyback that topic, feel free to. So with the base bid master plan, and I call it base bid because with the committee, there were so many options. Do we need additional practice fields? Do we need a band shell? Do we need all these things? And so we started to just record that and say, well, let's focus on the base bid and then start to think about an a la carte menu. If funding became available, what would we pick off first? And I can't determine which priority is more important. As Dr. Lombardo said, I'm a listener. So I just started to inventory that and identify costs. So as every dollar comes in, maybe it chips away at a certain line item that the district finds is the highest priority. So as the base bid that we'll talk about in terms of costs later, a new football stadium and soccer stadium, there'd be 1,700 seats for bleachers. There'd be 1,200 on the home side, 500 on the away side. This would be artificial turf, and it'd be striped for multiple sports. That would give band an opportunity to use this. That would give football, soccer, and really it gives you a chance to use the field 50 times every week instead of on a grass or turf field, or I'm sorry, a grass field. Maybe you only get one, and you really can't even use it during the shoulder season. So extending that life and getting so many kids the ability to use the field is why the committee decided to elect to go with turf instead of grass or sod. The bleachers would have a press box. There's new lighting and sound, and so we even dove into different options on what lighting could be, the Cadillac version or the Honda. And so this is kind of the mid-level in terms of quality of light. It's going to provide enough foot candles at the ground level to be obviously used at night and the shoulder seasons, but a lot of those lights can do some amazing things now, and so the committee kind of settled on what do we absolutely need, and so that's kind of what's included in the costs when we break that down. And then lastly, a new scoreboard. The board mentioned it was missing from the rendering, so I just made sure that that's really the only change from the December meeting until now is it shows the scoreboard, and it's included in the costs and included in the rendering as well. And this is kind of how that looks. Obviously, we're showing the existing high school to the west or at the bottom left of the screen, the existing parking, and then that would serve the football facility. In the costs, obviously, we show a press box, we show the lighting. This is the fencing that surrounds from a safety and security standpoint. This includes shot put and discus. This includes the pole vault. This includes the high jump, all the activities that would be associated with the track. And then this would include, obviously, the soccer striping, which doesn't really appear on this rendering, but you kind of get the idea that both sports could use that facility. With that, Michele, do you want to comment on anything about the committee or the work that kind of went into getting to this plan?
So once we reconvened again after the bond issue, as Russell said, we started paring things down again to see exactly what we needed to provide our students with the facility. As we had discussed at December's meeting, the voters had spoken, and we wanted to heed what they told us at the polls. But we also are aware that Spire is moving forward in a direction that is not going to allow us accessibility to their facilities in the way that we are going to need accessibility for our student athletes. And our job as a Board of Education and as a district is to be planning forward and thinking forward of how we're going to provide our student athletes availability, facilities, and options so that they can have access to all of these things that we have been using Spire for up until this point, and to do it in a way that's cost effective and fiscally responsible as a school district. So we started having those conversations and, paring things down. Russell was wonderful because we have literally built it up and tore it down many, many a time. And we ended up getting to this point. And it is very much bare bones. I will point out to you, there are no restroom facilities. There is no ticketing area. There is no band shelter. When I say to you, this is very much a bare bones facility, it is very much a bare bones facility, but we are looking right now at getting 3 sports out of Spire as quickly as possible. And what we have done is priced out some different options to meet the needs of restrooms. We're working, again, we approved policy tonight that we can start moving forward with fundraising, and we have our committee that has been working on this athletic piece is also going to have a spur, which I'll let Dr. Lombardo talk a little bit about, that's going to have a fundraising piece. We cannot move forward with that until we have board approval of this project. So this evening, we're going to start talking about the dollar figure that goes with that project, and we want to do that in open session. And as I had stated in December, we were not going to put our new board members in a position where we were approving something that they were not part of that approval and make it look as if we were trying to hurry up and get this done before we had new board members sworn in and on our board. So I will say that Dr. Lombardo and Mrs. McDermott did take the time to talk with Mr. Andrus and Mr. Cooper so that they were aware of, the facility, the conversations. We wanted everybody to be aware of what had discussions that had been had so that if they had any questions that they could ask and they were in the know before we all came together to have this conversation this evening. So please know that this is very much a bare bones facility. Everything that is being proposed tonight is student-centered and student-driven. This is not for the grown-ups. Now, I will tell you that we had said before, will the community have access, of course, to the walking track, to the things like that? Absolutely. But please know that the decisions that we made to bring this facility to our students and our community as quickly as possible were done so by cutting out those frills. And when I say frills, I mean restrooms, ticketing, all of those pieces. We're looking at fundraising and grant writing and all of those pieces to put in those, like the frosting of this facility. So we come to you tonight to have that discussion and talk a little bit about where we're going from there. But yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now. And I'll let Dr. Lombardo talk a little bit about the fundraising piece, and then you can go, if you want to talk a little bit more about the hard and soft costs maybe, then we can go.
Yeah, sure. And by the way, bare bones doesn't mean not exciting, because this is an incredible facility.
Exciting, but from where we were,
I know
and
that's what you
we
meant,
had,
but
yes.
there's some really exciting things
Yes.
happening on
Yes.
the campus, and that should be celebrated, even if it's bare bones. It's
Absolutely.
what the funds, and that's what we heard from the community. So
We just, again, when I say bare bones, I mean from where we were. This
Yeah.
is huge. This is an 8-lane track, all-weather track, turf field, and we have a lot of opportunities that are going to be presented by having this facility for our students. The saddest piece of this for me is that my kids aren't going to be able to enjoy it. I'll be very honest with you. That's the saddest part about this that I feel. But, even my grandkids will. I don't know. So we shall see. But these are exciting times. But what I want the community to know is that the decisions that were made were student-centered decisions. We looked at what we could bring with the budget and the funds that we had that would serve our student athletes, and that's what we did. So.
Great. This is the cost breakdown, and obviously with any number, there's a lengthy document and spreadsheet that breaks down all of these numbers to every dollar and cent. What I just wanted to show you is a diagram of what the total project cost means. And so this is a big fancy pie chart, and you can't read the text, and that's okay. Just take my word for it that the dark green piece is the cost of work. And when I say cost of work, I mean the bricks and sticks. So like the cost of the turf, the cost of all those physical items that go into it, including labor. And that's the 4.402577 number. The soft costs are all the things that go into it to make it happen. So that might be the construction manager, the architect and engineer to design it, the survey, the geotechnical, the construction material testing to make sure the soils are in good compacted shape to put that turf down. And so there's a lot of components that go into the soft costs. It includes contingencies too. So what often happens in a construction manager at risk project, which we'll talk to the board about at some point, is that there's contingencies in place to guarantee the price that we give. And so while this is just an estimate, eventually we'll get the documents into a good enough shape where we can almost bid it and have a guaranteed maximum price, excuse me, where The owner will have a contingency, the contractor will have a contingency. If they need to escalate the schedule to make sure we get done for kickoff in August of 2027, they're going to have those funds in their bucket and to accelerate that schedule. And so really it's the modern way of doing these sizable projects, especially when you need to buy long lead time items in advance. So the bleachers and the lights, some of those lead times are about 10 months. And so if we want to hit this perfectly, and I'll show you the schedule in a second, you really want to have a player at the table that can buy or solicit bids for those long lead time items so that they show up when the project is ready. And so I'll show you that schedule, but just this is the pie of kind of what all those costs mean. This includes, by the way, the total 5.746 is like the permitting, the stormwater management, plan reviews. It's kind of everything that could go into a project with our best estimation, with kind of the estimating that we have in-house. That includes inflation too. We don't know where the dollars are going to come in when we bid this, but we do our best to try to put a percentage on the unknown. And so we feel very confident about what we're presenting to the board tonight in terms of cost and feel comfortable that it's all inclusive. We try to avoid surprises. No one likes surprises. And so we did our best to put these numbers together to move forward.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, real quick. I didn't see high jump, pole vault, or
Yeah.
long jump. Were they in there and just not picked it?
And my laser doesn't work, but it's all in the hard cost numbers. The short answer is yes.
Just wasn't depicted on the.
Correct. Yeah. And actually, Jen brought that up during the committee meeting so we made sure it was in there.
Do we have a real number though on actual cost of doing concession, bathrooms,
Yeah.
locker rooms?
Yeah. I think honestly, if the project kicks off and the fundraising is amazingly successful, we would certainly be able to add an a la carte menu for the restrooms, ticketing. We even talked about maybe doing a gate and ticket booth as part of, it's about $250,000. That would be kind of an opportunity to highlight those that have fundraised and identify their names on that plaque. So this is kind of, as Michele mentioned, like the bare bones, but there's more we can add to the project, certainly. We just wanted to halt at kind of the base bid and then talk about alternates, because everything within the 8th lane of the track and in is kind of in this project. Anything you do can always be done later.
Just when you go to do that, if you can, try to look and see what guidelines are for fire suppression, see if we can stay underneath those guidelines.
Totally agree with you.
Tremendous.
Yep.
And Russell, in this plan, it has worked into it like infrastructure for if we put a building up or if we, correct?
That would be an alternate, and so
okay.
that infrastructure would be as part of that alternate.
Okay.
Do we have electric and plumbing tie-ins that will be in some way conduited there?
That kind of dovetails off
Yeah.
of Beth's question. We certainly can. I mean, I would actually encourage it, and I use the example, if you're a betting person and you're going to potentially build a building in 5 years, I would do the infrastructure as part of this project. If it might be 10 years or 20 years down the road, we would recommend probably to do that infrastructure, electric, water, potentially gas, if you're going to have a heated locker room or weight room in that building in the future, to do it then. No matter what, you won't jeopardize the infrastructure that you've built with the track and turf, because we're not going inside of that
I was going to say, but
center.
everything,
Right.
with,
Yeah.
everything
Are we
within
running
the
that now, just the bare bones? Are we running any of that just to?
That would be a part of an alternate that we'd be happy to put into the base bid.
Perfect. That's,
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was.
Not
basically
yet,
a la
not
carte.
yet. But
Well,
we,
electric has to go because you can do lights, right? Or is it
Correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
electric will be.
yes, just not for the building piece, or the restrooms, the concessions.
But like the press box and that stuff will.
Correct.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep.
and everything within the 8-lane track and the turf, that will not be disturbed. Once that's in, it's set.
Correct.
Okay.
So Shelley, do you want to talk about the costs, or do you want me to keep going and then maybe we go back if you want?
Just keep
Okay.
going.
Okay. Excuse me. So we put together a project schedule. We kind of were excited and we wanted to kind of see what this looks like. So if we have the opportunity to kick off the project in terms of like a design with an architect, engineer, really, we've already done survey work. We'd start to do some geotechnical work. If that kickoff started in February or March 2026, we would obviously continue to meet with the committee. They've been instrumental in putting the plan together, so we'd keep that cadence going, meet every month or every 2 months as the design progresses. We'd start to cost estimate, cost estimate in roughly October or November of 2026. We would have our bid documents together in November, and then we'd be ready to start construction shortly after the new year, after the board approves a GMP, a gross maximum price. That would all mean that starting in January 2027, a year from now, we're breaking ground. And that would mean that substantial completion, football obviously is what the goal is, to have it ready for the first kickoff game of next year. So in some ways, it's very simplified here, but there's a lot of work that goes into all of this. And so we put it together kind of simply, but there's a lot of work that goes into this, and we feel confident starting the kickoff in February or March, we're going to hit August 2027 with construction. Q&A.
Let me just to go with
Well,
the.
from your experience, when you design different, like with the grandstands and stuff, is there usually like a certain, like I know you had what, 1,700? If we go 1,900, is it usually about the same price? I mean, is there? What threshold?
$320 a seat.
Yeah, it was like 320.
So if you scale, it's just a multiplier. So yeah, to answer your question, it's not the same. It's
I know what tier system it was, you know, if it was 100 seats or whatever.
I think the committee originally had 2,000 seats, and it went down to 1,700, meaning 1,200 on home, 500 on away. And so, districts have decided maybe the away gets put off for a season. Again, you can locate those bleachers in the future. This was kind of where it landed in terms of number of seats. And if you have a certain number of seats and accommodations, you can offer the field, to other youth sports, community events, other sports for playoffs. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do once you have the infrastructure in place. And number of seats is obviously a variable that the state playoff and OSHA looks at.
Does this number qualify us for that?
It would be dependent on the division.
Oh, okay.
So not D1, for instance, but yeah.
Like what's our local schools like Conneaut and Grand Valley, where we're going to be right in the same parameters as them?
Yes, like when Dr. Lombardo and we went around and looked at some local facilities, just so we could gear, what would be right for Geneva. So, we took what we had seen to the committee and kind of talked about, scaling it down from the large amount that we had at the first original, and what would be sufficient for our district.
Can I ask you a question just to put on the record? Would this have any chance of over-encumbering our dual 8-inch sewer lines that run out to the street?
Wasn't prepared for that question. Say it again slower.
Do you think the runoff from this would have any chance at over-encumbering our 8-inch?
Yeah, okay, I'm ready now. So the project is going to disturb over an acre of land, right? And so with that, we'll have to do stormwater management on the site. We'll make sure we manage it from a quality perspective and a quantity perspective. So all that means is we're going to have a detention basin, a dry detention basin that will manage the water of runoff from the turf, the track, and any other impervious surface for the concrete, the sidewalks. It'll hold into that basin. It'll slowly release into the existing storm sewer or creek, whichever you have here, which I know you have a creek. And so we'll make sure that it doesn't overwhelm the existing system. That might mean that the bowl, for instance, is a little deeper, but it'll all be calculated in a way that doesn't overwhelm the existing system.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I do want to speak on behalf of the naming and the fundraising. So we've been working extremely hard behind the scenes, creating an initiative for the naming and sponsorship. We understand that the original plan was a lot more, it was just huge. In this plan, we really scaled it down. But that doesn't mean we aren't looking to do a ticket booth. That doesn't mean we're not looking to do tennis courts. That doesn't mean we're not looking to do a band shell. There are so many things and so many needs. We thought if we started with what we can afford, and that's the basic model, we have 2 years to fundraise for all those different items. We are putting together a tiered list of opportunities for people to donate and have naming rights. I have had people reach out to me anonymously and is looking to give to the project. I'm real excited about that. So if it is approved, we do have some people that say, well, I want to give so much money towards, let's say, the band shell. Well, then we'll be able to start that band shell. Let's put money towards the locker room or the weight room. There are so many opportunities within our sports complex. I mean, if you want to give us money for baseball, we will do what we can to improve the baseball stadium. And we approved the board policy tonight, which will allow the board an opportunity to say with any kind of fundraising funds, if people want to tell us where they want to, and that's the best thing if you ask me, is tell us where you want your money to go. If they say we just want it to go to whatever you think, then we're going to bring that to the board and we're going to propose different priorities within that project. But again, we have two years to get this project going. We are going to be ready at the beginning of February to start our fundraising. So from February for the next 2 years, you're going to see us advertising it. It was real exciting. I was telling the student advisory group, because I tell them everything. They just love it. And they said, we need QR codes, and we're going to put it on everything, and we're going to go out in the community and let people know this is what you can do. And Shelley will tell you as well, Catherine's doing a great job getting this all prepared. We also have our online donation piece ready to go. So if it does get approved, we are ready to go with the fundraising, and we are super excited. And I have a lot of confidence that we're going to get people that are going to join in. I really do.
And so we've worked with Catherine Beal, who was our communications guru. So with our fundraising platform, we will be able to, for the first time, I think, ever, accept online donations, not only for this, but I know that Mrs. Cybulski was also interested in setting up platforms when we want to sell tickets to the spring musical. We'll be able to accept credit cards online going forward, prom tickets, fees, correct. So, we will be able to allow the advisors to make a page up for the specific event. We're trying to, again, welcome to the 21st century, for us to, get us to make it easy. It's easy to donate. Obviously the people who want to do naming rights are not going to, let me charge that on my credit card today, right? But hey, I want to make a $100 donation towards this. I can go ahead, we can accept that through the site. Funds come right into our bank account. Make it easy, again, can be credit carded. So it's a great advancement that we're making, not only for the facility, but for all the other options that we have out there, instead of taking cash all the time. So this will actually just help us collect the money in all avenues. So
Yeah, and I don't want to leave out grants. So there are a lot of grants out there. I know Ms. Chauby is working on a turf grant for us through the NFL. So we are going to continue to fundraise. We're going to find grants, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to, in 2 years, to have a spectacular. It's going to be great if it's just this, but it'll be spectacular in 2 years.
And I know the conversation came up, again, we're not having restrooms right now. We do currently do porta potties, which, is going to be the only option we have right now. We do have those over at the baseball fields. So we figured we will probably move those over to the football fields and then add more, you know, for the, probably starting in July, at least August through November. So we will add more to that collection. Just kind of looking at some extra costs, you know, we're talking probably about $5,000 more for those porta potties for those months compared to what we're paying today. Right now, I think we have 2 porta potties and 1 handicapped facility. So if we double that, bring that over for 8 months, you know, we can have that. I know in talking with actually Mr. Andrus, we were talking about the food situation. So he brought up the great idea of we could have food trucks out front and maybe have different ones that rent the space or, you know, make some kind of contribution to the district for that. So, and still have the boosters, you know, sell underneath the tent. There'll be electric out there, you know, we can still have them set up hot dog machine, you know, try to make this, you know, is accessible that people can still have that. So, you know, we've looked at all those avenues, you know, and that's why the committee will still meet as we go forward, you know, for ideas of, you know, how to have the things that you want at a football game. Again, you want your popcorn, you want your nachos, you know, we need a restroom. So, you know, we are definitely, all that is still on our minds and getting the costs in there.
Yeah, I just think it's important to remember, as exciting as food trucks might be, that our booster group makes a lot of money off of concessions. So we don't want to take their profits that buy our uniforms away from them. So that would just be a caution that I would keep in mind.
And you bring up an excellent point. We have not made that money since we've been Spire. We just have not made the money that we were making when we were at Memorial Field. There were times we were making $25,000, $30,000 a year in concessions, and I think it's down to, do you have that number, what the boosters were?
I don't have that number.
So,
That was one of my main points I wanted to make too, is without running water, concessions become very hard. So from a standpoint of people donating in the community, if that's something that you'd like to see, you know, there's not really a good way to sell food, even if it's not necessarily what you see normally in a commercial area, without having a sanitize, rinse, and put away system. And that's a state law. It's not something we can just skirt, so it's not us being picky, but if we get dinged on that, there's a fine that goes with it, and it holds the hands of the booster groups, which have done concessions. I mean, when I was in school, I know Gamba, I think, ran 1 or 2 booths, and the athletic boosters ran the other 2. And that was a pretty good stream of revenue. So for those who may want to donate, that would be my biggest concern is running water being something that goes out there.
I think you get a hard price though on a brick and mortar facility.
Yeah,
to have concessions.
I agree. Yeah, because that's the last thing we want is someone thinks they donate 2 buildings, and the next thing we are out asking for more money so we can get water to it. I agree. That's a good point.
So, you know, Russell has presented the cost. So we have a project cost of $5.746,792 as the cost. As you might be aware, in June of last year, we did transfer some funds over to a capital improvement fund. So at the current moment, we have 7.4+ million in that capital improvement fund. So, you know, this whole project would come out of this capital improvement fund. It would not come out of the general operating fund. It would not change my forecast numbers at all. As we go forward with the project, everything again would come out of that 070 capital improvement fund.
So I think at this point, if we don't have any other questions, I would like to make a motion for I'd like to make a motion for 5.8.
Did you want to do 5.8? Or 5.75?
You know what, let's do up to 5.75. The total project cost is $5,746,792. I'd like to make a motion for 5.75 million to go towards this project, to start moving forward on it.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion or questions about it?
Is there a set amount that we need to set aside to move this forward with?
Well, currently, so last year, we moved money into an 070 account, which was for capital improvements. Currently, in that account, we have 7.432 and change.
Correct.
So this is not going to come out of our general fund, and this is money that would go towards capital improvements. So we would still have $1,686,000 and change in there to spend on permanent improvements such as repairs, buildings, buses. So that's not going to empty that account. We could allocate the 5.75 million towards this project to get moving, towards the stadium project, and still not empty that account and have that out of that fund, not affect the general fund. And still move forward with the fundraising, the fundraising, the grant writing, and start moving forward with the project.
Yeah, if we end up having to pull 5 to a lot of it, then we'll just.
None of that will come out of the general fund. None of that will come.
Okay.
How do we feel about that? Brock, how do you feel?
It's the path of least resistance. You know, my frustration isn't with the board in this current iteration, but I'll be frank. I went back and I looked. We've had this money. We had the money. We had the money for years, guys.
I know.
We could have built that facility that we put on the ballot. It's mind-numbing. $2 million for an annex at the time for administration, and I'm still beating my chest about that. I have a hard time spending 5.75 mil. The only issue, and the reason that I am even advocating for part of it the way that it is I've also talked to anonymous donors who seem interested, and that's why I asked the questions that I did. I'm not personally saying, you know, we have to have running water.
Yeah, I know.
Dual 8-inch sewers also for the ridiculous inquiries we got. That could, the two 100 home, median 1,500 square foot home complexes could run off the dual sewer pipes we have to the streets. So for those people who are very concerned about over-encumbering the sewer, I promise you the sewers are in good hands for the next few decades, okay? Knock on wood. But the bottom line is, we can either do what we've done historically on the Board of Education in Geneva and wait for the train to hit the wall and then come to you guys for money and say, sorry, no place to play, or we can do it now. And so my personal thoughts, I appreciate you asking, are, I think this sucks. I think this amount is ridiculous. I thought this problem had been solved, but if other people aren't going to pick up the gauntlet, then we have a job to do and we have to do it.
Let's go. All right.
I'd like to add the issue of the board office. At one point, we could have solved that for $600,000.
Yep.
And we kicked it down the road and kicked it down the road, and construction costs exploded, and now we're into 2.8 million for that facility?
It was 2.4.
2.4?
Before change orders.
Yeah.
Before change orders.
Which, by the way, included sewer pipes.
Right. So I'd love to have that 2.4 back and put it in this facility, but we can't cry over spilt milk. And if we sit here and debate it for 3 more years, that 5.7 is going to be that 20 million that our taxpayers clearly said that they didn't want.
Thank you.
Pretty much talking to everybody, they wanted something similar to Cognac. That's pretty similar to Cognac.
Yep.
Not all the, we don't have the, I'd love to have the restrooms, and maybe that could be worked out.
Yep. We'll work on it.
But we can't, I don't believe we can wait, because we saw what happened. You know, it cost us $1.8 million more to get into what we're over there next door. So that's why I'm, you know, I took a big gulp when I heard this, but after I thought about it, that's exactly why I'm supporting it.
Thank you, Joe. We good? Roll call.
Mr. Andrus.
Yep.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
Mrs. Cybulski,
Yes.
Mrs. Krieg,
Yes.
and Mr. Pierson.
Yes.
Build a football stadium. All right. Report of the treasurer.
Okay. I need a motion and a second to approve the financial report.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and I apologize if you don't have access, correct? You did not see the financial report then?
I did not, no.
Okay. So again, I will make sure tomorrow morning you have access to the shared drives. We did, just so a quick follow-up call, or a quick follow-up, we did meet today with our new online platform for our board docs. It actually has changed a little bit, which was the holdup that we were having when we first inquired. They told us it would take 2 months to get it up and running, and Dr. Lombardo said, how about the February 18th meeting? Can we try to have it up then? So we are trying. Again, it'll be a easy platform. You'll have access to it. All the documents are attached to the board docs. It'll be a great thing. So just a quick monthly financial package. Looking at where we're at as compared to our cash balances, it kind of compares where we were last year. It's kind of hard to look at last year's because, again, we did make the large transfer at the end. Right now, based upon the forecast, we are $1 million higher than what I projected in August. Now, remember when I tell you that they changed the forecast submission dates. It used to be October, so I had a few months of salaries. They went to August. And so what's going to happen is that at that time, I wasn't aware that we had 5 open tutor positions that aren't filled. So right now, that money is being saved. So our expenses aren't as high based upon that. Our revenues are a little bit higher based upon the property taxes to this date. Again, it's only about $100,000. Our difference in state revenue is down, so some of the things that you'll see on the report when you have access to it tomorrow are fluctuations of month-to-month timing. Some of them will be permanent. Like I said, staffing was not aware when the forecast was out. The forecast, you will get an update next month because they've changed the forecast date to February. And then you will probably have a unmandated one in June. So you can be totally updated because, again, the state has played around with us on when they would like reporting and when the treasurers of the state of Ohio say, hey, we've got some really good numbers here. Because next month I will be presenting the forecast that will not include our staffing conversations that we're having today that won't be finalized until after the February board meeting for next year. So again, where we're at right now, ending cash balance is $1 million higher than was projected. Again, that number will be updated. In the report, you do have the cash summary for all of our accounts and what is in them. Just so you know, in the packet also includes every check that was written in the month of December. And then where we're standing our budget-wise in our general fund. We do have our investment breakdown. So Red Tree currently has our investments. It's a agency that most of the school districts in Ohio do use. It also takes into consideration the funds that we also have at Andover Bank. We have funds at Star Ohio. And we have funds at US Bank, and that's kind of like a wash in and out with payroll. So you will have a investment register on those and a breakdown of where those securities are. And then also at the last minute, I did add the lunch report. Again, we did go CEP. The forecast will probably go to reflect that we are not making money on going CEP. So CEP is free breakfast and lunch to all students every day. But the advantage of going CPE is the additional $1 million in disadvantaged people impact aid. It's a restricted funding, so I'll kind of touch base more on that next month in the presentation on the forecast. Those are restricted funds. Things that we can use those funds for are Dr. Lombardo's Community Resource Center. So, you know, something social emotional wellness. These are things that we are using these funds for. Like, again, these are restricted funds, extra funds that we are getting for going this community CEP. So, again, she will show when you get into the file, I've added it to the informational items, you know, that we are operating at a small loss. Again, it's hard, we do submit to the state after the end of the month. So if you think, you know, we had all our expenditures for September, we are not showing any income from the state until October for September's expenditure. So we're kind of always a month behind. When it comes to time in June, which is why we have a later June board meeting, I know where we're at financially, so we can approve a transfer to cover, because we cannot end a fund in a negative fund balance with it, you know, so we have to be at a zero balance at least in those funds. So, again, that's what the financial report is. Do you have any questions?
I just want to say thank you for keeping track of all of the things that have been happening the last 9 months, trying to figure out when things are due and every day changing, so well done.
Yeah. The new budget bill that went through, there'll be changes on state funding, and I will showcase that at the forecast meeting next month on the funds because of the property tax reform, what the district will be losing because of that, and how that will affect us. So good times, but.
Also, I'd like to thank you for reining in the codification. I know that no one really cares in the larger scheme of things, because when you talk about like actually qualifying funds, it doesn't seem like it's that big. But one of the big things that Shelley's done is every dollar that comes in and out of here has a tag associated with what it's for, where it goes, why it goes there, how is it historically trended, and we're making really, really good data sets. And that allows us to make moves of money much more clearly. And she has been the only source of stability through House Bill 186 and other pieces of legislation where I'm like, hey, like, what are we going to do about this? And she's like, oh, I'm glad you asked. This is what I'm going to present to you at the next meeting. And that goes a really long way, Shelley. So thank you very much for that.
I will have to thank the software that when I came on here, we did change our forecasting software. We have webinars almost every week, especially with all the House Bill changes. You know, we build different scenarios all the time on what it's going to look like. So, you know, meeting with these webinars, like, again, once a week, going through, looking at your forecasting, how to kind of really fine tune where you've been at your spending for the last 6 months, what it's going to look like, you know, compared to the last 5 years. So I'm telling you, you know, the forecasting software is a big help.
I didn't realize I could pull it online too. I didn't know if people know that, but there's the 5-year forecast and the historic 5-year forecast. If you want to go online and see them, especially the new report with that modeling software, you can do that on our website.
And the state of Ohio actually has all the forecasts of every place. It's just, it's lovely to go and read. And it's different. We had someone present a forecast kind of, and their board likes a lot of words. And so, you know, when she was presenting, again, just had blurbs of words and words and words. And I know, from what I've gotten from the board that was before, you know, we like the graphs. We like to see, it's easier to read. You know, sometimes numbers and words feel like, you know, Charlie Brown's teacher, womp, 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 right? So you look at a graph, you can kind of say, okay, that's, you know, how things are made up. Makes a pretty picture. It makes it easier for the common everyday person to read and understand a little bit more. So next month will be fun. Are there any questions? Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Cybulski?
Yes.
Mrs. Krieg?
Yes.
Mr. Pierson?
Yes.
And Mr. Andrus? Okay, I just, again, want to give quick recognition to some donations. We did receive a $1,000 scholarship in honor of Joe Harisco. It's for students to use towards the cost of higher education. I will be working with Mrs. DeBacker, and she is working with the individual who founded this scholarship. This is a brand new scholarship this year for the qualifications and for the awarding of the scholarship. Mrs. Chaubey did receive a Ohio Bureau of Workers' Comp Safety and Security grant. I know we had talked about this. It is valued at $5,928.56, and it is to purchase a walk-behind disc scrubber for the high school. So thank you, Mrs. Chaubey. Like Mrs. Crosley had, we have a list of the hallway donations of the people who donated funds or items or time. So we do appreciate all the donations we received in the past month. The next item, number 3, the treasurer recommends the following funds to be appropriated according to the adopted budget. I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so what this is, as in the fall, in September, we do permanent appropriations. So that's how much we can spend in each fund. So a lot of times during the year, we get more money as income. And so if we get more money as income that I'm going to spend, I need to appropriate more. So what this is doing is basically stating that I need to spend more money in these different fund accounts. So we did, for like unclaimed funds, this is a Fund 22, we did move a check into unclaimed funds that wasn't cashed, and I know that it was a stale dated check. It was over 90 days old. We moved it there. It was from 2024. I know that we're going to have to cut that check this year, so I needed to increase the appropriation for that. Termination benefits last year, we did move some funds over to termination benefits. I do need more funds to pay for termination benefits, so that's going to be people who retire, their severance, and people when we pay out their vacation when they leave is coming out of this 035 fund and no longer coming out of the general fund. So again, because we had more people retire in the past year and paid out, that I need higher appropriations. Auxiliary service funds. So the school does accept money from the state for non-public schools. It was passed a few years ago where these non-public schools that lie in the district could actually take their own money and doesn't have to come through the school district anymore. Just recently in November, I did receive auxiliary school funds for Spire. So we are basically kind of a holding house for these funds. They actually have to come through us to spend the funds. We do accept or deduct a fee. It's normally a 4% fee, which is customary on auxiliary funds. So they are going to bring in about $30,000. And again, there are specific guidelines that has to be spent for these funds through the state. So obviously what I get in from them, they're able to spend. So I should get in about $30,100 and we'll have to be able to spend $30,100. When we passed the budget in September, the whole federal grants were kind of in an upheaval, as we know. But in the end, we ended up getting a new grant that we never received before, Title V. It's a rural. So we should get in $67,000 that we can spend this year. So that, again, was a new grant. I was not aware of it at the time, so I do want to appropriate those funds. Are there any questions on that? Okay. Mrs. Cybulski?
Yes.
Mrs. Krieg?
Yes.
Mr. Pierson?
Yes.
Mr. Andrus? And Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
The treasurer recommends the board approval of the disposal list that's attached of assets that are no longer of use to the district. Some items will be traded in or sold at public auction using public surplus. So we...
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
So what this is as we came across the house on the hill, which will hopefully become our new student resource center.
Yes.
It is loaded with outdated desks and computer tables. So The maintenance department spent some time. We are actually cleaning that building out. We are actually running a, what is that, a semi, what are those? Storage, not a storage unit,
We bought 2 storage units.
but they're on site. They're going to be
Yeah,
at the
they're gonna be on
transportation.
site
So
at the
they're,
transportation.
what are those, what's the word for that?
Roll-offs?
Pod?
Like a big pod, right? So to store some of this.
Should be a roll-off.
Yeah. To store some of this, the items that are on this list, again, there are computer tables and media desks. These are things that are not salvageable for our use to save for the future. So again, either these will be disposed of or they'll be on the public surplus site. So we wanted to get those on real quick so we can dispose of them and not put them in the storage unit for a rainy day that we're not going to have. So. Any questions?
The house has its own sewer line into the street that's
Oh,
unable
my goodness, yes.
not to encumber either of our 2 8-inch sewer tie-ins, right?
I'm not positive. I would have to get back to you on that
We
question.
should look into that.
I will look into that for you. Mrs. Krieg?
Yes.
Mr. Pierson?
Yes.
Mr. Andrus? Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
And Mrs. Cybulski?
Yes.
All right. Legislative report.
Well, in true government fashion, our very busy state Senate and House of Representatives has been getting ready to run. So unfortunately, not too many laws have been passed. Although some have been tabled, there's a really large amount of bills that have been put into the public light in order to make headlines that are probably going to expire. Things like the Charlie Kirk bill are sitting without action in the 136th House now. So essentially what we're waiting for are any signal that we think that these bills are going to move forward. We do know that there's going to be property tax adjustments we believe will be worked into some of these other bills now that we know that the calculations for inside millage will change. The language is ambiguous. According to Lake County's Mr. Pluchnik and our very own David Thomas, who I believe are really gunning for Dave Joyce's seat, there is a host of changes that may occur, although I haven't seen any pens to paper quite yet, so I don't know how much of it will be there. In good news, and this is kind of cool, I met with a small group 2 months ago about AI, and just today, probably about 8-9 hours ago, we got told that we have to have a committee that looks at AI products, which we have already done ahead of the schedule. We already have safety implementations in place. I was actually really impressed by Mr. Bergard already had certain keywords that would be looked at. So for instance, if someone starts communicating with a chatbot such as Gemini AI built in and says, I don't feel safe, I don't like this, what are the best ways to do something nefarious, that would be reported. Most of the time it will go to someone for them to look into. For instance, even if someone puts like a joke and searches something relatively inappropriate online, I've seen that it's a pretty sensitive system. In other areas where I've talked to, because we've also included people from the sphere of health for HIPAA compliance and FERPA compliance, that's a big gray area that no one really has the answer to with AI. So as the state keeps pushing out the recommendations as they have today, we're going to stay up to date on it. What I intended to later on show all of you in an open session is having a roadmap where we talk to these stakeholders and propose something for all of you to read, where maybe we use a singular area of AI that's extremely locked down and say, if a teacher approves it and it falls in line with our policy, let's unify it. That way we don't have any personal use of AI or personal external data from our district getting fed out. But we have to really make sure that the guidelines from the state come in before we start aggregating that. To your point, Shelley, of coding, we need to kind of make sure that if we do have something like that, a LLM, a language model, that we are not training it on data that children are using. So I would imagine that that will be a pretty prominent conversation for the state. I know it's really exhilarating stuff, but it is really important for our kids and for their safety. I've never seen anything rolled out that fast. Other than that, I don't think on the legislative front there's too much to look for besides the calculations and the upcoming credits for what we'll be looking at for funding. They keep ping-ponging the dates because they're trying to make the data look a specific way, but so far as close as they get to repealing taxes, it seems like that guard has kind of lowered their guns and stepped away from that and are now looking to alternate funding and potentially income tax offsets. So until we know what those numbers are, really, there's not too much to report. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Brock.
Thank you. The ATEC report. Let's see, we have, on January 12th, the ATEC held their budget hearing, organizational meeting, and regular scheduled January board meeting. 3 vacant board seats were filled by 2 members from the ESC and 1 member from Conneaut, which were all returning board members. One was Dr. Wade from the ESC, Mrs. Klingensmith from the ESC, and then Mr. Nesbitt from Conneaut. The sophomore showcase is tomorrow for sophomores and freshmen, which would be, I think that came today. Yeah, so tomorrow, Thursday, for sophomores and freshmen. And 9th graders will see the CTE exploration labs. A good turnout is expected from all the districts. Career night and open house is scheduled for January 29th from 5 to 7 p.m. Attendees will meet the staff, tour the facilities, and learn about the college and career competitive advantage. So that's all from ATEC. And board member reports. Anybody have anything they'd like to share?
Maybe a few quick items if I can just go through the list.
Go right ahead.
So first and foremost, I just want to say before I lost access to my email, I did receive a correspondence talking about our mixers and the ability for us to capture the meetings, and that some of them have to be like volume up so high that you still almost can't hear it. I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. I'm sure it was already brought to your attention. The next, I wanted to thank Cindy Rogowski for 29 years and wish her well. Going to Ossenberg with everyone there, it's always, I like those guys a lot. And I know that that was a school that my brother was raised in, and it's strange to see people that you think will be in the school forever finally take their well-deserved break. 3, I wanted to go over, people have been very concerned about snow days. We have 15 of them, as you heard today. So if we have 15 snow days or more, well, sorry, more than 15, then we'll have to make them up. But I think we're under that?
Yes.
By a few? Okay. So we're in good hands.
Right now, we're in good hands.
We're in good hands. And then I want to talk about attendance really quickly. I really love the fact that Mrs. Doherty talked about the fear of failure. Because for some of these students who are missing school, I get that the cheesy photographs might not be something that seems sincere, or people say, what are you doing to incentivize this? But when you look at systemic causal failures where people they don't just fear failure, they feel that they have failed and there's nothing they can do about it, that's where you get people that don't go to school. Because it doesn't matter. Because I've already failed. Who cares? No one cares. And the inclusion of people in school, not just as we're happy you're here, there's fun stuff, but like, we miss you. It's better when you're here. Those conversations that I've seen shifting, those have been making the most dents in it. And I want to say thank you to Paul and thank you to Missy and just everyone in general, because I know I've even heard of this from some of the preschool parents about how their kids are excited to come to school and what a great experience they're having at Ossenberg. And that puts a huge dent in a pretty huge problem we have. I think I touched on the dual 8-inch sewer lines that go into the sewer system, and so we should be good. And then the last thing I wanted to is, if with the QR codes that we're going to roll out, if we can just take a look at security. A lot of people have been making fake landing pages with AI that look identical to normal pages, and then if we're doing fundraising, they're going to say, put up a fake one that looks identical and fundraise it. So if we could just have some type of, hey, check who you're sending money to. I feel bad. Some of these great-hearted people who may not be super well-versed with technology, they get raked over the coals with that stuff. And that's my list.
Well, tomorrow, me and Paul are going to be touring around. We're going to check out the bus garage and probably a few other facilities. I'm going to look at the maintenance that's going on at the different buildings. We are going to inspect 8-inch double sewers. I think
That's on the agenda, right?
I'm glad to hear it.
So I should wear a suit, no seats
Dress
tomorrow, and
accordingly,
fall down
Paul.
there with a flashlight. We'll check that out.
Rubber gloves.
But, yep.
had our first board retreat. I think it was the first, is it the first one we've ever, I think it's the first one that Geneva's ever had.
The other ones got canceled, I think, because the school got canceled. I think there was one before this we were all going to go to, and it was a snow day or something like that.
Was it like a full-fledged retreat though? Like was somebody else coming to do it? I don't know.
Maybe it was more like a surrender.
Maybe it was, I don't know.
We
But
had
it was
food.
really good. And it was really good. It was on, boardmanship, and we got to talk, and it was after Stephen and Joe were sworn in, and we got to, we all brought food and learned a little. We're gonna work on a board member handbook, and it will be up on our website. So if anybody in our community wants to run for this glorious position, they will be able to pull that handbook down and know exactly what this position entails, and we're kind of all marking it up and adding what we would like to have in there. So it'll be updated and ready to put in, candidates' hands if they so desire, and then the community can see too. But it was great. It was a really good event, and we're gonna get another one on the books to work on other things. My world is swim right now. I haven't been to many other, I know basketball is doing well. Try to talk about all the things, but swim has been like knocking it out of the park. Boys and girls swim won all county, so first place all county.
Boys were second.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
I thought they both won. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm used to the boys.
It was
always,
like 3 points going into the last two events.
Oh,
Madison beat us.
that's right. It was second. You're right. So girls won all county, and the boys got second. And then we had CVC championships this past weekend, and the girls won the CVC Lake East, and the boys were second at CVC Lake East as well. So we've had a lot of swim, a lot of chlorine in our house. But they've been doing fantastic. And I know wrestling, I'm going to try to pop in and see wrestling tomorrow night, but kind of missing my oldest wrestled, so I'm kind of missing my wrestling meet days, so I'm going to pop in and see what that's all about tomorrow. But yeah, a lot of great events. I did get to see Academic Challenge on Channel 5. They did awesome, so great job. This is Mark John, kind of saw you on there. So yeah, all kinds of great things going on in our district, so kudos. And yeah, yay for snow days. Use them all up.
We have 11 more left.
Big fan of the snow day
Absolutely.
at the Krieg House. Big fans.
I'd like to complain about our retreat. It was in the board office. I mean, when I think of a retreat, it's like Las Vegas or Hocking Hills or.
You will be extremely disappointed.
No.
I had to laugh though, because do you remember that story on the news where the Cleveland Metropolitan School District went up, they had this money they had, I think they had to spend it on a retreat, and they went somewhere it was really expensive.
Glorious, yeah.
And I said, I'm waiting for somebody to say, well, how much money did you spend on that? I'm like, well, $0 when we brought our own food, so.
But I would like to thank our former board members. Unfortunately, they're not here tonight, to get us to where we are today. I think we're working pretty well, and hopefully we continue to do that. And I think we've made a big step forward tonight to heal some of the problems in our community. So congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, I don't really have, I just want to welcome Joe and
Yes.
Stephen and look forward to continuing the work we're doing. It's been a journey so far, and a lot of great things are happening. So I'm very excited about where we're going and what is ahead.
All right. We good? All right. Best motion of the night. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All right. Roll call.
Mr. Pierson?
Yes.
Mr. Andrus? Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Cybulski?
Yes.
And Mrs. Craig?
Yes, motion carries. 8:56. Have a great night.
One more.
Thank you.
Thank you.